After 2 periods of play here at the Northlands Coliseum, it's the Edmonton Oilers 4, the Chicago Blackhawks 3. And with us here in the second intermission, one of the more passionate Blackhawk players, Jocelyn Lemieux. Jocelyn, you involved in a situation in Game 4 where you ran over the goaltender Bill Ranford. Were you a little tentative coming into this game? Do you think the Oilers were going to try and get back at Jocelyn Lemieux?
Well, a little bit. I knew they would come after me. They've been talking to me quite a bit since the game started, and I just enjoy that. It's one thing that keeps me going and gets me going every night when I know that people are coming at me, just like St. Louis were saying that they would come after me when I was playing tough against them. So it's one good thing about getting involved physically. It gets much easier to get ready.
Jocelyn, the first period, the Oilers dominated at a 3-1 lead. What was the topic of conversation in the locker room?
Well, I guess it was as usual. We had some kind of speeches from veterans and coaches. We knew that we didn't really come out like we're supposed or expected to, and I think we'll turn things around pretty good in the second period. I know that we're still down one goal, but it was a power play goal, and we know that we always get better as the game goes on, so we're looking for that third period.
Well, conditioning is going to be a factor. The team is pretty banged up after 2 7-game series. How's everyone feeling going into the third period, do you think?
Yeah, well, we see guys adding some protection to their equipment night after night, and we know it's tough. It's physical, and we have guys like Dennis Savard that's been hurt the whole time, and tonight Dirk Graham can't play because he's hurt too bad, so we all have to get used to it and play through it.
Well, good luck the rest of the way.
Thanks a lot.
Our guest, Jocelyn Lemieux. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more after these messages.
It passed 110 other cars to become one of Car and Driver magazine's 10 best. The distinctive Mercury Sable. The editors of Car and Driver have seen the light. Nothing moves you like a Mercury Sable. All this on the quality of a Mercury.
So what's little dandruff?
Okay. Imagine you're at the social event of the year, and your dream girl says hello, just as you do this. Her first impression? What a hunk. It's only a few flakes.
Give me a break.
The breaks are you never get a second chance to make a first impression.
So?
The regular shampoos won't fix your problem. Now listen.
Head and shoulders? But you don't have dandruff.
Bingo.
Head and Shoulders, because you never get a second chance to make a first impression.
Are your teeth sensitive? Do they hurt? Watch out for the domino effect. It could end in tooth loss. It's a chain reaction that can start with sensitive teeth. Then pain, which can make you stop brushing. That can lead to plaque buildup, gingivitis, periodontal disease, even tooth loss. Sensodyne helps stop the pain and the domino effect. Ask your dentist if you need Sensodyne, the toothpaste dentists recommend most for sensitive teeth. Help stop the pain and the domino effect with Sensodyne.
Welcome back to our NHL studios in New York. I'm Bob Papa. 2 periods complete. Edmonton leads Chicago 4-3. Edmonton's 4th goal, a historic one. Yari Curry is able to tie Wayne Gretzky on the all-time playoff goal leader list. Curry gets his 89th to tie the great one. Mike Bossy, Maurice Richard, and Jean Beliveau also on that list. Well, while the Bruins bask in the glow of last night's sweep over Washington, they have another memory to reflect back on. On May 10th, 1970, Boston won their 4th Stanley Cup on an overtime goal by Bobby Orr. Here's the call of the legendary Dan Kelly.
Sanderson tried a shot that was wide, and Keenan cleared it, but not out. Bobby Orr behind the net to Sanderson. Orr! Bobby Orr! Scores for the Boston Bruins! Have won the Stanley Cup!
The Bruins swept the Blues in 4 straight to get their first Stanley Cup in 29 years. Back with more from New York after this.
Once numbered in the millions. Yet what had been so plentiful, man has made nearly extinct. Behold the last of a vanishing breed. A family sedan for under $11,000. Oldsmobile Cutlass Sierra. Imagine a roomy, well-equipped 4-door sedan for under $11,000. And it's an Oldsmobile Cutlass Sierra. Hurry. A rare deal like this cannot last forever.
Our New York studios, NBA playoff action continued this evening. The Knicks playing in Detroit against the Pistons, and the Pistons come up with the victory. 104-97, they lead the series 2-0. San Antonio and Portland going at it, and San Antonio gets their first win, 121-98. Second quarter, Lakers lead Phoenix 58-46. That wraps it up from our studios in New York. I'm Bob Papa. Back to Edmonton after this.
In one of hockey's most fabled careers, Terry Sawchuk played 21 NHL seasons in goal. Tonight, Sawchuk's introduction to greatness on the Discover card, Great Moments in Hockey.
We interrupt this fill-up to remind you the Discover card pays you cash back for every charge. Well, we're on our way. It pays to Discover. More and more people are finding more and more reasons to choose the Discover card. Here's one. Cash back for every charge. It pays to Discover.
The scene, the 1952 Stanley Cup Finals. The Montreal Canadiens versus the first-place Detroit Red Wings. The Wings in the midst of 7 consecutive first-place finishes. The Habs on the verge of 6 Stanley Cups in 8 seasons. However, on this occasion, the Canadiens would be turned away in large part due to the brilliance of Terry Sawchuk in goal. He had contributed 2 shutouts and 2 goals allowed in an opening round sweep of Toronto. Then in the final versus Montreal, 2 more zeros, and Detroit was on their way to an 8-game romp to the Stanley Cup. 4 shutouts and 4 goals allowed in those 8 matches. The last 2 games of the final were played at the Detroit Olympia, and Sawchuk thrilled the home folks with his own brand of cooking. Great Moments in Hockey is presented by the Discover card.
The Edmonton Oilers dominated the first play, but had just a 2-goal lead after the opening 20 minutes. The Blackhawks came out with an early goal in the second period from Trent Yanni off an errant clearing attempt by the Oilers, and that drew the Hawks to within 3-2. Then Chicago got a power play, an awful lot of power plays. That's a big part of the story here in Game 5 is special teams work.
Well, finally the Blackhawks get something going on the power play. Savard almost loses it at the line, makes a behind-the-back pass to Doug Wilson. He gets the slash from Tikkanen, and a lot of that nonsense throughout this series. Wilson then drops it back to Savard. Savard with a long shot. Now Kevin Lowe tries to block it. He slides in front of it, deflects it, and Bill Ransford has no idea where it is. It's in the net, and that tied the game at 12:45. Wilson and Yanni got the assist. Then late in the second period, on the 7th power play of the night for the Oilers, Tikkanen with some good work behind the net. Out to Curry. Curry at the top of the circle. Into Messier along the near boards. Back to Curry. And Curry and Messier work it perfectly, and Curry buries it for his 89th career goal. And the Oilers take a 4-3 lead into the locker room to start the third period.
An awful lot of special teams play on both teams, but as you anticipate the third period, and we've said this before, I know the Chicago team, if they're not the best conditioned team in the league, they think they are, and that may serve them well in the third period.
Well, they're a banged-up hockey team right now. A lot of key guys getting a lot of bumps and bruises, especially in that second period. They had a few more guys with some lumps, but somehow they've shown the ability to bounce back under trying situations. They were dominated in the first period. Everyone thought the game might be over, but they battled back, tied it up, and gave up a late power play goal, so who knows what team is going to show up here in the third.
A much better second period for Chicago. Now, if you're the Edmonton Oilers, you're seeing the game start to slip away. How do they turn it around?
Well, sometimes it's very difficult to reverse it. When you lose the momentum, it's sometimes very hard to get it back. So it should be an interesting first 5 minutes. The Blackhawks obviously will try to put pressure on the Oilers, and the Oilers will try to weather the storm early.
After 40 minutes, it's Edmonton 4, Chicago 3. We're ready for the third period right after these messages.
Skydiver Eddie Turner will never forget October 16th.
We were jumping at 12,000 feet. Frank collided with another diver and was knocked out cold.
Like a missile, Turner shot toward his friend,
All I could think about was just getting a hold of that ripcord.
which he did just 10 seconds before impact.
You'd done it for me.
To everyday heroes everywhere, we offer our best. Smooth, never bitter Miller beer.
I told Frank, next time you fall, make sure it's for a tall blonde.
We tested SCP oil treatment under the worst possible conditions. In the taxi cabs in New York City. The result? Engine lift to wear was reduced by up to 50%. And now there's an SCP in newer car, too.
You've just discovered your car has a clear coat finish, which your ordinary wax just ruined. Simonized non-abrasive wax won't scratch today's clear coat finishes, and that'll save you a lot of grief.
Who could that be? It's Coach Brown with today's word.
Today's word is transition game.
Ooh, transition game. And you say transition game?
Exactly what I'm talking about.
David, you're not a guard. You're going to break. You got to run. Run, rebound, rebound, rebound. Running is when you play your leg quickly.
I don't think we're going to have Coach Brown on the show anymore.
If you don't do that, I'm going to have to yell at you again.
The Reds do it, so do Krylon Blue. Krylon paint turns everything old Krylon new. Spray on Krylon for a smooth, professional finish. With no runs, no drips, no errors. Now that's Krylon new.
The 1990 Stanley Cup playoffs on Sports Channel America are brought to you by Mercury and the fine line of 1990 Mercury automobiles. See them now at your Lincoln Mercury dealer. By AT&T, the right choice. By Nike, who reminds you to just do it. And by Miller Lite's Tour de Light, the bicycle race across America to win America's favorite light beer.
With Dale Talon, Pat Foley back in the Northlands Coliseum, 4-3 in favor of the Oilers. Edmonton a dominant first period. The visitors from Chicago had a much better second period, maybe even had at least equal number, maybe an edge in scoring chances in the second period. And we're ready for what should be a thrilling third as the Messier-led Edmonton Oilers try to maintain their home ice advantage that they worked so hard to re-steal in Game 4.
We played nearly half the game. And Savard was rocked by a Messier hit late in the second.
Well, they've changed the second goal of the game scored by Chicago. It was originally given to Yanni. They give it to Troy Murray from Yanni at 4:03 of the second.
Savard, whatever Mike Gapsky did to him, it worked because he came back and scored a power play goal after he was rocked by Messier. The Oilers are perfect this year in the playoffs with leading after 2, 7-0, and the Blackhawks haven't yet to come from behind when trailing after 2.
Well, that second goal for Chicago. Meanwhile, here's Conroy right off the draw, shooting. Ranford the stop, rebound, came in front. Ranford chopped it away from Gilbert. Yanni keeping it in. To Gilbert in behind the net. Got help there from Lemieux. Trying to center it, didn't get through. Now the goal, I think, may have come loose slightly. And Don Koharski sounds the whistle and gets it reset. Just to finish the bookkeeping, the first goal of the second period, which was the second of the game by the Hawks. Troy Murray's fourth playoff goal from Trent Yanni at 4:03 of period 2. Well, now you're up to date. We'll have a face-off to the right of Bill Ranford.
Ranford making a good kick save early in the period, 20 seconds into the period, on Steve Conroy, who has scored a goal in this game. Almost got his second to tie it up. Playoff game for the Blackhawks in 36 days. The Oilers had a week off before this series. They've lost Randy Gregg for the remainder of the night with a bruised thigh, an injury that he had in the LA series. Blackhawks started the game without Dirk Graham and Keith Brown in the lineup.
Now the draw. Taken by Craig McTavish. Leave it to Kevin Lowe, who rolls it out to the Chicago line. Michel Goulet. And move back in, stopped by Muni. Now, Greg Simpson knocked down by Presley as he got it into the Chicago zone, and back comes Manson. Beating Goulet for Presley over the line. He couldn't field the bouncing pass. Taken by Steve Smith. Rutsalainen. Back to Smith. Pass it to himself around Gilbert. Steps in over the line. Smith centered one. Lamb couldn't pull the trigger. Larmer with a good defensive job for Chicago. Again. And back comes Gilbert. Gilbert in on Rutsalainen. Taken off the play along the boards. Larmer in behind, trying to center it. Here's Conroy, the shot deflecting wide. Yanni on the near board holds it in. His long shot. Ranford kicks it aside to Tikkanen. Sends it into the far corner. Larmer put it in behind the net. Savard trying to shake loose from Tikkanen. Can't do it. Mark Lamb takes it away. Put it to Tikkanen, whose pass is broken up. Now Savard back to the line. Unable to get to the loose puck, and Rutsalainen does. Trying to clear it, but it hops over the glass and into the crowd. It's early in period 3. Edmonton leading Chicago 4-3.
Said that a good beer is like a good man. If you look beneath the surface, invariably, the best will come shining through. Smooth, never bitter, Miller beer.
Troy Murray between Lemieux and Thomas for Chicago. The kid line for Edmonton. Graves, Jelena, and Murphy. Yanni beating Steve Thomas. Sends it ahead too far for Conroy. Back behind the Oilers goal. Touched first by Huddy, and the icing call made here against the Blackhawks. Charlie Huddy, the second highest scoring defenseman in playoff history for the Oilers.
That's the Tikkanen in his second straight game that he's had to shadow Dennis Savard. Savard tries to get the net between him and Tikkanen, and he goes to Tikkanen, tries to tie Tikkanen up and then spin away from him, but Tikkanen has a hold of his stick. And Savard goes down, and he gives Koharski a bit of a stare, but it didn't work.
Here's Steve Conroy for Lemieux on the left wing board. Jocelyn Lemieux dumping it in, hoping for Thomas, but out comes Ranford to sweep it away. Sends it back the length of the ice, and Boucher will have to play it for Chicago. Gave it to Trent Yanni. For Thomas, clearing to center. Troy Murray into the Edmonton zone. Trying to dump it in, got a funny hop off the glass. Back comes Lowe in a hurry. 3-on-2 for Edmonton. Here's Graves over the line, waiting. Lowe runs interference. He shoots one, and a save by Boucher, and he gives no rebound. Kevin Lowe just making a beeline for the net, trying to tie up the Chicago defense, allowing Graves and Alley to shoot one.
Kevin Lowe makes the defensive play, gets a bit of a break, so as Troy Murray's dump in hit a partition and went to Murphy, and the others break out on a 3-on-2. Graves taking a long shot. Luce made the save, had a little difficulty with it, then finally was able to freeze it. And Russell pulled down Jelena.
Jeremy Roenick did not see much ice time in the first period. He got a little bit more in the second. He's had 9 goals and 14 points in the last 14 games for Chicago. And he's out there now against Lamb. To the left of Cloutier. Lamb winning the draw. Here's Smith with the long shot. Cloutier, the blocker, save. Cam Russell knocked down along the board. Now came free to Adam Creighton, but he can't get it out. However, Presley will. Presley putting Roenick into the Edmonton zone. Roenick in on Muni, goes wide, turning behind the net, centered one. And Ranford failed to pick off that pass, but Simpson did and shot it to center ice. Here's Gary Curry, unable to get it in deep, taken by Roenick. To Goulet, now Presley. Presley sending it into the Edmonton zone. Steve Smith hit it to the far side. Conroy can't hold the bouncing puck in there. Now from center, here's Savard stepping in on Muni, cuts for the net, drops it in front to Larmer. Here's the shot. Ranford, the save. Where'd it go? No, Lowe blocks the shot. And it winds up in the crowd.
Kevin Lowe that time got it. It gets by him. It's a tie hockey game. Same type of situation on the Savard power play goal. This time Lowe was able to get enough of it to deflect it past Ranford and into the crowd. And Savard with a nice pass to Spring, his teammate Larmer. Pulled away from Curry and then dropped it over to Larmer coming late. Larmer tees it up. Lowe slides in front of it and gets it with the skate.
Thomas and Lemieux on for Chicago. Messier, Anderson, and Simpson for Edmonton. And the draw is taken by Huddy. Harley Huddy to Mark Messier. Cleared the center. Cam Russell trying to get it back in, but hit the linesman with that dump attempt. And Lemieux now feeds Murray. His pass is stolen by Simpson. Putting Anderson over the line on Russell, trying to go wide, and Cam Russell got a piece of him to turn him around. Wilson then sends it up the near board. Thomas chopped it back into the Edmonton zone. Charlie Huddy back for it. Clearing it down the other way. Taken by Trent Yanni. With a nice move to get away from Messier. Now puts it to Lemieux over the line. He's rubbed off on the board. Taken away by Ruotsalainen. And he sends it to center. Conroy then lost it to Messier. Here's a break. Mark Messier cuts for the net on his backhand. Shoots. And a save by Cloutier. Yanni, a good recovery to force Messier to his backhand. Now Yanni is shaken up, I think. Here's Conroy. Clearing it to center, and Trent Yanni, I believe, might have gone head first into the end boards. He just made a sprawling effort to try to catch Mark Messier after the Hawks gave it away. So Yanni a little dazed, but looks like he'll be able to continue. It's early in the third. It's Edmonton 4, Chicago 3.
Jerry Mason. Get his autograph. No way. I'm too embarrassed. Then I'll get a close-up for you.
Ah, the Minolta Freedom Zoom. When you can't get to the picture, this camera brings the picture to you.
Give me one more shot.
Freedom Zoom, the only compact with 5-beam autofocus, so even subjects not centered are perfectly focused. Enjoy your freedom today.
Only from the mind of Minolta.
Yanni was coming into this series a little bit banged up to begin with, but he's had another solid performance. Messier on a block. Conroy dump in, pulled in on the far side, and good recovery by Yanni. Then he went crashing awkwardly into the end boards and appears to be all right, but dazed more than anything and seems to be favoring the back part of his shoulder.
Ruotsalainen deep in his own end. And they clear it to center, and Graves He dumps it in. Around to the near side, Smith. Bumped by Presley, then Jelena kept it into Murphy, shooting, and a save by Kuche, and he's going to hang on to it.
Kuche came out of the net to play that puck. Roenick had a beat on it, would have been able to carry it up the near boards, but Kuche beat him to it and got too much of it around the board. Smith pinched in, did a good job. And then Murphy got up the loose puck and fired quickly from a sharp angle right into the mitt. Here's Kuche.
Now Murray and Graves to the left of Kuche.
29-16. The Oilers won game 4 with only 16 shots. Twice in this playoff situation, the Oilers have had less than 20 shots, and they've won 2 games. Had 18 against L.A. in one of the games they won, and only had 16 in game 4 and won. And quality as opposed to quantity.
Now Thomas on the near side. His pass deflecting and captured by Troy Murray. Leave it right to Joe Murphy, putting Graves over the line, looking for Jelena, but Troy Murray recovered to steal the pass. And now the Hawks can't get it out. Here's Conroy, and he manages to roll it to center. There's Conroy now, taking a long shot, sailing just wide of the far post. And Craig Simpson for Edmonton starts the Oilers back, and Savard is shaken up. Here's Huddy dumping it in, and Savard is face first on the ice back in the Edmonton zone.
Savard went crashing awkwardly into his own player and then was spun around and appears to have injured the ankle that gave him all the problems this year.
And again, Mike Gatsky coming on to tend to Dennis Savard. It's been a rough night for the Chicago centerman, and he appears to be favoring his right leg. 6 minutes gone in the third period. It's Edmonton 4, Chicago 3. We pause for a regional break.
Getting very difficult for the Blackhawks. First, Savard had his bell rung by Messier hitting the second. Tries to get away from one of his own players. Runs into Steve Thomas. They go ankle to ankle, and Savard is flying high onto the ice. And
he's going to head to the Chicago locker room now. Or at least toward it, maybe out of the view of the cameras. That's one of the things the Hawks do here in the playoffs is get out of camera range so their trainer can do whatever needs to be done. Here's the play in the Hawk zone. Taken by Steve Larmer. And Larmer battles his way to center. Now steps over the Oiler line. Knocked down by Lowe, but he got it in deep. Roenick back of the net. There's a bump there from Lamb. Everybody's still battling away now. Roenick trying to jam it loose. But it's stolen by the Oilers, and Lowe clears it the other way. Gilbert and Muni have really had quite a duel going on this shift in front of the Oiler net. Meanwhile, it's cleared to center where Gilbert, and it's sent it ahead. Curry picked it off. Cleared to center, and I'll dump it right back in there. Ahead to Mark Lamb, and got it into the Hawk zone to the far corner for Tikkanen, and Russell gave him a bump, and Adam Creighton came to take it away. Cleared the center ice. Presley to Thomas. Smith took him off the puck, though. Now Esa Tikkanen to Steve Smith, whacking it down into the Chicago zone. Luce well out of the net to play it himself to center. Messier there to Lowe. Kevin Lowe. Had to wait as Anderson jumped the gun. Would have been well offside. The Oilers have to dump it in. And here's Presley on the right wing board. Looking into the neutral area. Hawks dump it in from there. Lowe. Made it to the corner. Goulet steals and centers, but Ranford blocked the pass. Now Troy Murray to the corner. Put it in behind the net. Goulet lost it to Messier. And he streaks it ahead to Anderson. Letting Pekin into the right wing board. The return pass didn't click. And now Goulet unable to get it in there deep. Troy Murray does, however. The Hawks head for a change. Out comes Steve Smith. Big pass stolen by Gilbert at center. Dumps it back in there. Ruotsalainen to play it. Or Smith. Didn't get it by Bob Murray. Centered it. Larmer a shot deflected up high by Ruotsalainen with a good reaction. Now Roenick digs it out. Coming to the near corner. Roenick lost the handle and the whistle sounds. The goal was jarred loose once again. 11 and a half to go in regulation time. It's Edmonton 4, Chicago 3. We pause for a regional break.
Bill Ripken and Orsulak. Orsulak, did he catch it? Yes!
Bill Ripken.
George Brett hit the grounder. Great play by Bill Ripken, and he makes the play.
Craig Worthington.
Worthington around first. Diving into second, and he's safe.
Mickey Tettleson.
The Fruit Loops kid strikes again, a two-run homer.
It's time again for Orioles baseball. See 90 games live and exclusively on Home Team Sports.
The Blackhawks getting a bit of good news. Savard returns to the Hawk bench and gives Keenan the okay sign. It's been a tough night physically for Savard. And he has a goal and an assist.
Here's Graves moving in on Conroy, who knocked him down into the corner. And now taken by Presley, but he lost it at his feet. Joe Murphy for Jovina. Big save by Cloutier. And he hangs on.
The Hawks have to find a way of stopping this kid line. They've been outstanding. Graves, Jelena, and Murphy, it seems every time they're on the ice to get a scoring chance. Presley can't find the handle, and then Murphy pokes it away from him to Jelena. Jelena back to Murphy. And then Jelena gets the pass back and whips it towards the net. Cloutier goes down on his knees and covers up.
And Messier will get ready to the right of Jacques Cloutier. Here's the draw. Steve Smith put it across. Here's a long shot from Huddy, missing the net. Back of the goal is Roenick. Jeremy Roenick to Gilbert on the left side, and he tips it to the Edmonton line. Huddy there. Puts it ahead to Anderson. Now Messier. On the feed back to Anderson. He takes a dive. The play goes on. Here's Larmer in on Huddy, who forces him to the corner. And then Messier takes it away. But then Roenick re-steals. Centered one. Too far for Gilbert in front of the net. Murray, a long shot, hit his own man Larmer. Now Larmer back on his feet. Right up on the boards. He's still centered, but Huddy there to steal it. And he feeds Anderson to center. Rolled it over the line to Simpson. Greg Simpson against Bob Murray trying to center. Roenick picked that off. And now Manson leads Goulet. Tapped it ahead too far for Lemieux. Taken by the Oilers' Lamb. Shooting it back into Chicago ice. Well, it wound up actually in the Hawk bench. So we get a whistle.
Savard's first shift back after injuring an ankle in a collision with his own teammate Steve Thomas. Now looking at the clock very anxiously with 10 minutes and 4 seconds to go. The Oilers clinging to a one-goal lead. They dominated the first period. That's won the second with some power play help.
faceoff will be at the Oiler line. Savard between Lemieux and Goulet. Out there for Chicago. Lamb, Tikkanen, and Curry for Edmonton. There's the face-off. There's the Chicago line. And Yanni back for it. Yanni gave it to Savard. Jocelyn Lemieux was trying to run interference on Tikkanen for Savard. Now here's Gilbert, or rather a Goulet, clearing it over the line for Lemieux on the near side. His return pass is broken up by Lowe nicely. And came loose to Esa Tikkanen, leading Messier to center. Mark Messier puts Tikkanen over the line. Tikkanen dropped it back at the feet of Yanni. Didn't know where it was. Tikkanen finds it to the corner, and he's taken off the play there. And Jocelyn Lemieux doubles it out to center ice. Quick feed to Tikkanen. He can't find it along the boards, and Dennis Savard lost it in traffic to McTavish. Or Curry far side. Curry, the McTavish side of the net. There's going to be a Hawk penalty. Tikkanen just got leveled, I think, by Savard. And Dennis Savard will get a penalty. It might be a major. Don Koharski is over to have a look at Esa Tikkanen. And a few other players start pushing and shoving, but they begin to cool off here. We'll fill you in on the penalty when we come back. 9 minutes to go in the third. Edmonton leads Chicago 4-3.
Mercury Topaz is an investment you'll want to ride for quite a while. One that pays daily dividends to families. With assets like a 2.3-liter fuel-injected engine and plenty of comfort to go around. Mercury Topaz. It's good news for small investors. Topaz. All this and the quality of a Mercury.
Penalties have been costly to the Blackhawks. Meanwhile, only a 2-minute penalty for high sticking as Savard got the stick up under Tikkanen's shield. The Curry that wears the shield. I don't believe Tikkanen has it on.
He doesn't.
And he went down in a heap, and Savard goes to the penalty box, shaking his head. And 10:57, the time of the penalty for high sticking. The 8th power play. Savard's down on his hands and knees, and the stick comes up and clips Tikkanen right in the face.
So the Oilers head to the power play, and a key opportunity here to give themselves some breathing room. Murray and Larmer out front for Chicago with Yanni and Conroyd. Meanwhile, Anderson, Messier, and Simpson again on the Oiler power play with Ruotsalainen and Smith. The draw to Yanni. Around the boards, held in by Ruotsalainen. Here, point to Smith. Here's a long shot. Deflected over the glass by Anderson. And into the crowd.
Cloutier wants the face-off to go. The neutral was only pointing at Anderson, but it was Cloutier that really came out beyond the screen to kick it and kick it up into the seats. The late power play goal in the second period that gave Curry his 89th career playoff goal, and the Oilers a 4-3 lead. Steve Smith looking for a deflection all the way along the ice. Cloutier got to it before Anderson could, and face-off stays in the Blackhawk zone.
Here's Ruotsalainen shooting. Cloutier, the glove saved nicely with Anderson again cruising through the crease. And Cloutier able to hold on. Well, the Oilers have really timed their shots from the point brilliantly with people cruising through the crease. They don't often have anybody standing still setting up shop to provide a screen. They do it with a motion type power play offense, and their timing so far tonight has been terrific.
They scored a lot of power play goals with that move as they move to the net looking. The defensemen know they're the key for them. They've been looking for deflections. They're not trying to shoot the score. They're putting it along the ice, and they're putting it in areas for deflections.
Roy Murray able Rutsalainen back. He cleared it to center. Steve Smith rolling it in there. Messier to the far corner. Bumped by Larmer, who chopped it loose, not out. Held in by Rutsalainen. To the far board, Messier across to Smith. He centered it. Simpson couldn't redirect it. Now taken by Messier. Centered it. Simpson. Oh, he blasted one up off the glass with a one-timer. And it winds up in the seat.
Simpson scored his 11th goal on the power play in the first period on a deflection. That time, though, he drifted one from the deep slot and got too much of it off the glass and into the crowd. And face off to the neutral zone. 8th power play of the night, where the Oilers are 2 for 7 with the man advantage. He has 5 power play goals in this series in 26 chances. 16 overall in the playoffs.
Now Smith. Rutsalainen. He gave it to Jari Kurri. Stepping over the Hawk line. Kurri goes wide, shooting. And a save by Cloutier. Rebound bouncing in front to the Oilers. Now Tikkanen harassed by Bob Murray. Pokes it free behind the net. Messier. Top of the ring to Smith. Throws it across to Rutsalainen. Up the boards to Kurri. Back to Rutsalainen. He plays catch with Kurri. Now Messier trying to send it in front. Hit the side of the net. Wilson clearing effort. Hit Lemieux. That allows the Oilers to keep it in. Smith puts it in front. It's stolen by Wilson. As Wilson works his way to the Oiler line, then clears it in deep. One more rush now on this Edmonton power play. Here comes Mark Messier. Turns to wait for a little help. And scoops it ahead. Here's Tikkanen. Might have a chance. Center when Kurri a shot. His one-timer goes just wide in a quick 2-on-1 opportunity. Now Huddy into the corner and Tikkanen. Center when Yanni in front to steal it. The Hawk penalty is over. Both teams are back at full strength. Here's Dennis Savard. Or Conroy, whose pass dropped over the stick of Presley. And the Hawks scurrying around their bench. The fans holler for too many men, but no call as the Oilers dump it in. Russell gets it back to center ice. Here comes Savard. In over the Oiler line. Trying to center it. Murphy steals. Oh, Murphy. Or Jelen on left wing in on Larmer. Jelen trying to muscle in front of that centered one. Too far for Murphy in the slot area. And now out comes Gilbert. To Larmer. In over the Oiler line, shooting. It's blocked at the Edmonton defense. And Joe Murphy can't get it by Bob Murray. And he's bumped off the play by Jelena. Feeding Graves. And Gilbert has him well covered. And shot back to the center ice area. We're down to 6 minutes remaining in regulation time. 4-3 in favor of the Oilers. So far, the third period has been scoreless. Bob Murray deep in his own end. Brings it around the board. Goulet has had a lot of ice time here in the third, putting Troy Murray over the line. Murray moving in, shooting. Ranford, a glove save. That seemed to fool him a bit, but he made the stop. Now back of the net, Thomas trying to bang it out of there. McTavish wants a whistle. They still flail away. Now McTavish able to win the puck to Lowe. To Huddy back of the goal. Tries the left wing board, Simpson. And he rolled it back into the Blackhawk zone. Steve Conroy or Jeremy Roenick. Lost it at center. Mark Lamb shoots it back in. To center ice, stopped there by Rutsalainen. And now Smith will send it back into Chicago ice. Roenick tied up by Kurri, who flipped it in front. Now Messier battles Wilson to the corner. They tie one another up, and we get the whistle with 4.5 minutes remaining in regulation time. It's Edmonton 4, Chicago 3.
Are your teeth sensitive? Do they hurt? Watch out for the domino effect. It could end in tooth loss. It's a chain reaction that can start with sensitive teeth, then pain, which can make you stop brushing. That can lead to plaque buildup, gingivitis, periodontal disease, even tooth loss. Sensodyne helps stop the pain and the domino effect. Ask your dentist if you need Sensodyne, the toothpaste dentists recommend most for sensitive teeth. Helps stop the pain and the domino effect with Sensodyne.
The Oilers had a decided edge in shots on goal, 16-4 in the first. They're even up in the second, and the Oilers have a 7-4 lead in the third period.
If you're Mike Keenan, are you to the point now where you put out the full court press?
Well, you've got to start, only 4.5 minutes to go. You've got to start taking some chances. The Oilers are good at countering, but they've got to hope for a turnover of some sort.
Here's Smith, a long shot and a save by Cloutier. Rebound cleared to center and Savard. He can't get it in there deep. Bouncing at center and corralled there by Steve Larmer. Now Greg Gilbert turning. Gilbert leading Larmer over the line. Larmer to the trailer. Troy Murray can't find the handle. Rolled it in front, and Ranford sweeps it calmly away to Martin Jelena, whose clearing effort winds up in his own bench. 4 minutes left to go in the third. Edmonton 4, Chicago 3.
CCM 651 Tax. The only skate with vacuform, heat molded to the exact shape of your foot. The only skate with heel lace, dual lacing that locks in perfect fit to transmit your power and control directly where you need it most, right into your game. 651 Tax by CCM. Turn on the power.
At Foley and Dale Talon back in Edmonton in 2 days more. We'll have Game 6 Saturday night from Chicago Stadium, 7:30 Central Time, the start. And we'll have that for you on most of these same stations. Here's the draw to Jelena, clearing it out to center ice. Now Jelena worked it to the Hawk line, was stopped there by Thomas for Roenick. Jeremy Roenick into the Edmonton zone, turning. And a center one, Graves deflecting it to the side of the net. Ranford will cover there and take a whistle.
And Mucker showing confidence in his young trio. They've had an outstanding game, and he's got them out there in critical situations with 3.5 minutes to go. Jeremy Roenick, who had his first shift of the game, 8 minutes into the game in the first period. He's gotten more ice time with the minor injuries to Savard here in the third. Savard was run over by Messier in the second, had his bell rung, and then hurt his ankle in a collision with Steve Thomas in the early part of the third period. And Roenick was seen more and more.
Right off the draw, Secord had a chance but whiffed. Now Creighton to the corner against McTavish moving behind the net. Creighton muscled in front. His shot is blocked, though. Then Wilson holds it in. His drive didn't get through. Wilson again. Had it taken away by his own man. Creighton, then a shot is stopped by Ranford. Cleared to center and Graves. Adam Graves dumping it in. Steve Thomas gave it away to Anderson. Throwing it in behind the Chicago net. Now sent out to center ice with 3 minutes remaining. The Oilers dump it in. Here's Steve Larmer. He clears it into the Edmonton zone. Charlie Huddy. The Messier who gave it away to Larmer. Then Anderson bumped him, but Larmer still held it in. Now Huddy chopped it up the boards. Larmer holds that one in. Centered one, and Pekin in there to steal that. And finally the Oilers able to clear it. The Hawks put it back in there offside. And we're down to 2.5 left, and this will be ruled an intentional offside against Chicago. With a draw all the way back into Blackhawk ice.
Manson just pulled out of the zone, tried to dump it back in, and Larmer hit it with his skate up against the board. Steve 2:21 to go. Sudden death, really, right now, as far as the Blackhawks are concerned. The Blackhawks have not played any overtime games this year. The Oilers have had 3. They've won 2 and lost 1. One of them a double overtime loss to Winnipeg. The Oilers and the Blackhawks have never been involved in an overtime game in the playoffs. Amazingly, the Oilers this year in the regular season were involved in 20 overtime games. They won 5, lost 1, and tied 14. Best percentage in overtime.
Roy Murray with Lemieux and Presley. It's Lamb, Curry, and Simpson for the Oilers. Here's the draw. Presley on the right wing board. Got it to center ice. Troy Murray steps in on Huddy. His shot blocked by Charlie Huddy. Now back of the net it goes. Everybody hacking away. Came free to the far corner. Conroy in deep. Got it to the line. Troy Murray. Along the boards of Conroy, whose shot is blocked. He tries again. It's blocked in front. Big scramble. Lemieux couldn't find it. Yanni after it. Rolled it in front. Stolen by Simpson, but he can't get it out. Ranford now with a regular player stick where he doesn't have his goal stick. And here's an attempt by Huddy to get a whistle. He goes into the turtle on top of the puck. And he's successful in drawing a whistle. And we had an awful lot of grinding, pushing, and shoving going on around that Edmonton goal mouth.
Hawks doing everything they can. They're clawing, scratching, trying to get an opportunity and a rebound attempt. Good work by Troy Murray. Then Conroy's second attempt, he got it through after hitting the defenseman. It squirted out front. Presley couldn't get the handle. Lemieux just misses it. Trent Yanni has a chance with a diving Huddy. He lost his stick as well. Then he gets back up, goes to the front of the net. When Lemieux tried to put it out front, Huddy went down, gloved it, and froze the puck. And kept playing it back and forth from left hand to right hand, so he couldn't get a delay of game penalty, and then finally was able to cover up when some Blackhawk players came near. A minute 45 remaining here in the third period. The Oilers clinging to a 4-3 lead. They dominated the first and had a 3-1 lead, but the Hawks have battled back. Tied it up, but Yari Curry was the go-ahead goal late on a power play in the second period.
Now Savard, Larmer, and Creighton out there against Messier, Anderson, and Tikkanen. Savard and Tikkanen will go for the draw. There it is. Came back to the line away from Wilson. Messier racing after it. Wilson did well to tie up the burly Edmonton center. Now Anderson knocked down Larmer to steal it. Larmer grabbed his stick nicely, though, preventing any chance for the Oilers. And now here's an offside call against Edmonton.
The Hawks arguing with Koharski about that last situation where Anderson picked his feet from under the Blackhawk player. Wilson did a good job of tying up Messier as the puck seemed to squirt loose. Messier looking more and more to the bench to see when Keane wants him to come to the sixth attacker.
Now Keenan sending Bob Murray out to pass along those instructions. It's Troy Murray with Thomas and Roenick now. And it'll be Messier, Anderson, and Simpson for Edmonton. Now the draw. Outside the Chicago line with a minute and a half left in regulation time. It's taken by Bob Murray. Murray dumping it in there. Muni scurries back. Harassed by Thomas. He's knocked down. Muni is behind the net. He falls on top of the puck. So a whistle with 1:13 to go.
And Mike Keenan utilized his only timeout in the first period. About 6:30 to go in the first period after the Oilers were really putting pressure on the Blackhawks. He called his timeout to slow the momentum of the Oilers. paid off because the Blackhawks scored their first goal. But the key goal up to now was that goal by Graves that gave the Oilers a 3-1 lead. 18 seconds after Conroy made it 2-1.
With a draw to the right of Ranford and 1:13 left, Mike Keenan electing to keep Cloutier on the ice here. And it'll be Murray and McTavish to the right of the Oiler goal. Now ready. The draw taken by Lowe behind the net. He hammers it off the boards out to center ice. Larmer, his pass deflecting to Bob Murray, who gets it in there deep. And here comes Cloutier to the bench. 6 skaters for Chicago. The Oilers clear it back the other way. This will be an icing call. Wilson puts the touch on it with 50 seconds to go in the third period.
Troy Murray got clipped in the eye by McTavish's stick, went crashing into the end board. And now he's having some conversation with McTavish about it. Face-offs now become more and more important. Get an offensive chance so you can weather a storm by winning a draw in your own zone. And the Oilers, McTavish out there to take most of the important face-offs. He got clipped in the... Troy Murray got clipped by McTavish's stick as McTavish tried to hook him and slow him up so that Kevin Lowe could get the puck and have some time.
Chicago goal to our left is empty. 6 attackers on there for the visitors. Savard, Roenick, Creighton, Larmer, Troy Murray, and Wilson. Now McTavish and Murray will get ready to the left of Bill Ranford. Everybody on both benches standing to make sure they can get a good look at this final minute of the third. 4-3 in favor of the Oilers. 50 seconds to go. Now everybody gets set. There's the draw, taken by Tikkanen. He swats it out to center. Anderson going to try for the empty net. Oilers win. The Edmonton Oilers. Wait, is it no goal? A hand pass. A hand pass.
Definitely a hand pass for an offensive chance. Tikkanen clearly in his first attempt tried to be casual about it. Didn't want to ice the puck, so he took a little off it. And that allowed Wilson to keep it in, and then the puck deflected up, and he swatted it ahead into the neutral zone, and Anderson was able to pick it up. And Campanello made the call right away. Tavish tries up Troy Murray, then he gloves it ahead. Tikkanen now doesn't want to ice it. Sometimes that's a detriment because you don't put enough mustard on it, but he gloved it ahead to Anderson, and a good call for an offensive chance. Savard tried to play a goal, and Anderson put it in with the whistle gone because it was a hand pass. You can advance it in a defensive situation, but not as an offensive opportunity.
So now some discussion with Koharski and Ron the Bear Asseltine along with Wilson and Anderson. Position the draw just inside the Oiler line here.
There might be a discussion about the time on the clock. Because Anderson did take some time off the clock from the time he got the pass to go to the blue line to shoot the puck into the net. So the whistle had to go as soon as Anderson touched the puck.
Now the Blackhawks have 7 skaters out there, and the Oiler bench hollering that Chicago made a late change. Adam Creighton now comes off. And Jacques Cloutier can only hope that He'll have extra time to try to backstop Chicago to a win. 4-3. Favor the Oilers. 41 seconds left in the third period. Everybody getting ready. Here's the draw. Taken by Doug Wilson at the near point. Loops it around the board. In behind the net, Larmer banks it off the side of the goal. Now McTavish with a bump from Savard. Lemieux chopped it loose side of the net. Ranford reaching. Did he get there? He did. Bill Ranford reaching with the glove, able to smother it in a big scramble around the side of the Edmonton goal.
And Roenick and Anderson having a battle in front, both taking swings at each other. The play was to the left of Ranford, and the Blackhawks trying to jam it out front. Ranford was finally able to dive headlong and get possession of the loose puck. Hawks won the draw up by the blue line. Doug Wilson was able to bank it, but Roenick and Anderson having a slugfest in front, and Roenick not taking a back seat. Performance. The Blackhawks totally outplayed in the first period, but they battled back with injuries to key people. Somehow, they still have a breath of life here with 24 seconds to go in a very important face-off.
Don Muckler calling a couple of his troops over. Don Koharski trying to keep things moving here.
Now the face-off's going to go to the other side. Because Ranford clearly throws the puck on that side.
So we'll line up one more time. 24 seconds left to go in the third.
McTavish, the man for the Oilers. He's been out there for the important face-offs in the last minute.
They square this one up against Savard. Everybody moving prematurely. So they line up again. And here's the draw. Came into the near corner. Now Lemieux puts it around behind the net. Roenick after it there. Put it back to the corner. Lemieux knocked down by Tikkanen. On top of the puck, 12 seconds to go, and a little bit more pushing and shoving. Nobody wanted to do anything foolish here.
Ted Green, the assistant coach, and John Muckler wanting the face-off to go to the neutral zone because Lemieux fell on top of it. But Tikkanen tripped him up. And there was a discussion, and now the face-off is going to go to the neutral zone. And they're ruling that it was Lemieux that froze the puck.
And Savard and Larmer right in Don Koharski's face. The draw will be moved outside the line to the chagrin of the Chicago team. That a very important decision made by Koharski as we're down to just 12 seconds left. This final minute taking forever after a
basketball game.
All right, now Savard and McTavish will get ready again. And the draw. Taken by Lemieux, flips it ahead, but right to the Oilers' Smith. He clears it out, and Edmonton will head to Chicago with a chance to eliminate the Blackhawks. The Edmonton Oilers maintaining their home ice advantage by virtue of a 4-3 victory tonight. And Mike Keenan obviously distressed with that final decision to move the last draw outside the zone. But of course, his plea falling on deaf ears. And in the third period, the Oilers with 8 shots on goal, the Blackhawks with 7. And the third period was scoreless. So Edmonton grabs a 3-games-to-2 lead in the series. Tonight, they win at home. Edmonton 4, Chicago 3.